Today, financial markets perked up, but it seems a temporary relief after the panic selling. Amid the lack of fundamentals, modest recovery is driven by speculative reasons. Currency pairs are set to trade at values justified by macroeconomic data. Yesterday, markets were roiled by the soaring number of first-time unemployment claims in the United States for the last week. Now traders are looking for more signs of a looming recession. Now let's watch a video calendar to find out what publications, which are due in the first half of the next week, will impact on market sentiment. The economic calendar is rather loaded. Traders will get to know inflation data from the Eurozone countries for March. On Monday, the Status experts will release a preliminary CPI for Germany. Next day, investors will analyze similar reports from Eurostat. The ECB is also closely monitoring inflation data. According to flash estimates, investors are braced for downbeat figures, as an annual CPI could have eased 2.7% in March. Some analysts warn of more dismal data. Nevertheless, traders could give a moderate response because the situation in the United States is no better, so the euro could weaken against the US dollar for a brief moment. On Tuesday, some economic data will shed light on China's economic conditions, as the country seems to have passed the turning point in the epidemic. China will provide government data on business activity in large factories. Following the shocking slump to a historic low in February, the manufacturing PMI for March could rebound a bit, so traders expect a minor upward correction. On Wednesday, Market and Taishin research groups will release a similar survey for small and medium-sized factories. Experts say this part of the manufacturing sector survived the crisis in less pessimistic mood. The PMI is expected to have risen to 45.6. If the actual figure coincides with the consensus, this will inspire optimism in investors, thus reviving appetite for risk. As a result, the market will see sell-offs of safe haven assets in the short term. On April 1st, investors await a monthly survey from the Institute for Supply Management that presents its own PMI for the US manufacturing sector. Market participants are braced for contraction in business activity of the world's largest economy. On Wednesday, the ADP payroll processor will report on the US employment. The data will be a precursor to the US non-farm payrolls, which is due on Friday. Amid gloomy expectations, the US dollar is set to decline. Apart from the above-said reports, it would be a good idea to pay attention to other economic data. On Tuesday, don't miss data on economic growth in Spain, the UK and Canada. Another important report is data on Germany's labor market. On Wednesday, investors will find out employment data for the European Union, as well as revised PMIs for leading global economies. You were watching Forex Trader Calendar on InstaForex TV channel with me, Kate Stichina. We wish you profitable deals.